So basically RACI matrix again is very powerful tool to identify where the stakeholders come in the larger context of your power interest, right? So you can again plot this in terms of their of the role that they're playing with respect to your project. So if it is here, this one is basically about your project or your activity, the requirement. It's nothing to do with their role or thing. So your power interest rate is one thing, and then here this is with respect to your project, that this CRM product development installation project, for instance, if you're talking about it. Within that, what is each stakeholder or each manager or each person, what is the kind of RACI that they would play? So RACI stands for responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So that means that
What
again,
is S doing there?
SC is also there. SC is what I have added. SC is this one, supportive. Okay, we'll come to that. I've
Okay.
added that coming from a different thing. I have, that's also another flavor of this RACI, but that's not used much. But I've added that to. This is something again that I created about a good 8 years ago. So RACI is responsible, accountable, consulted, informed, and if you want to add S there, you can add that as supportive. So, so essentially, you're trying to identify which stakeholder needs to be informed, which stakeholder has to be consulted, and who has to be held accountable, and who is responsible for a particular feature, for a particular functionality, a task, whatever it is, right? So that means that if you're working on, for example, a task could be create requirements. Yesterday we were talking about the responsibility of business analysts to own the requirements, right? So here, if you're a BA, for example, a business analyst would have the create requirements and own requirements, manage requirement, all of that. Who is responsible and accountable for that? It's the BA. Whereas if it's a solution, for example, we were discussing the solution deployment, technology stack identification, it's the architect. So the architect is accountable. But then who can be consulted in that? An SME can be consulted, a developer can be consulted in that solution identification, right? So that's why when you try and create this RACI matrix, it's important that you clearly identify who are responsible for that particular task, feature, whatever it is that you identify, and then who is accountable, who can be just consulted. Just they don't have any say. If anything goes wrong, you don't have to. Again, this is the traditional approach, to be honest. Again, in Agile, end of the day, the team is responsible, right? There's no finger pointing on fault finding within Agile. It's a collective effort of the team. If the particular deliverable goes wrong, if it's a failure, then you're not pointing fingers to anybody. It's actually collectively the team says that, okay, we messed it up. Let's see why we went wrong, and then try and rectify. So again, just keep these two things separate. These things are all old school, traditional ways of doing things. But I wanted you to know, because it's important. You can use this as a tool. It's a powerful tool, but then not much of use in the Agile context. So responsible means they do the work. Basically, they're the people who are responsible for your BA. You would create the requirements, and then accountability is basically the decision makers. Who is held accountable for doing something if something goes wrong, right? So the decision makers have got that. So if it is to do with a technology decision that has gone wrong, selecting a specific tool that has gone wrong, then it's the architect and the developer, the application architect, the solution architect, the developer that would be held accountable. Even the developer is actually kind of responsible for implementing it. So in that case, it's the accountability lies with the architect, whereas the responsibility is the developer. And consultant is people who can possess the required inputs for a task. So either, for example, SME, a subject matter expert, a domain SME, a banking retail expert. So basically, they're the people who are consulted for seeking advice, for seeking a direction, whether this is right or wrong. So, and then informed is basically you just need to inform them. They just need to be informed about the outcome or the result of the output. So you don't have to you're not holding them responsible. They're not accountable. They're not even consulted. They're just updated. You just send a mail, or you just let them know, send a report saying that, yeah, this is what has been done. So they're informed. And then S is basically supportive. So you actually use these people like IT, the HR, training, infrastructure support, DevOps. They're the people who are typically in the S side of things. They're the supportive network,